Hi, I'm here. I won't start just yet, but today I actually realise that the camera's on, which is better than yesterday. So I'm doing better. I'm learning as I go, like we all are at this moment. So remember, you need some A4 paper, you need a pencil, you need some pens and crayons. Okay, so whatever, doesn't matter if it's not exactly the right things, we can all make do with whatever we've got. So anything along those lines, we'll do it today. And I'm going to start at past just so that everyone's here. But thank you so much for coming. Do tell your friends about me. And for anyone who's never met me before, I'm down in Cornwall. So hello wherever you are. Send me a few messages saying where you're watching from. Yesterday I actually had someone from Australia, which was pretty wonderful. So let's see where you all are today. And just while we're waiting for others to come, I teach art down here in Cornwall in a very, very unusual way. And it ends up with three-hour lessons which convert people to amazing art standards in a short space of time. If I bring this a bit closer, you'll see this was the progress of a 10-year-old girl in just 3 hours, and that's normal for anyone, even stroke victims. 3 hours on perspective, even architects have said they haven't known all the information I've given them. 3 hours on paint and colour, after which this was a 90-year-old stroke victim after just 5 lessons did this. 50-year-old German lady, 40-year-old gentleman here after 3 lessons did that portrait. So I also run art lessons. I won't be doing any of this work on these courses, but these are just a bit of fun. And we'll carry on. I'm going to start in about 2 minutes. So can you keep sending me thumbs up and hearts and things so I know that there's people there? I think I've got 11 of you coming up with this second. That's another group coming in. That's great. I know that there's a problem. By the way, yesterday I came across it because I'm new to all of this. Some reason when I'm putting up writing, it's coming up back to front and I have no idea why. So if anyone out there can help me with that, please let me know after the show. But if you can just bear with me for now, then that would be great. And I do apologise if things are back to front. Oh, I'm getting some more thumbs up. Anyone else coming in? I'll give you a few more minutes. I don't want to rush and start and leave anybody behind. Send me a thumbs up or a smiley or something when you're there, and then I get a feeling for how many people are watching. I'm going to give you just a few more moments. This is one of my paintings down here. I do all sorts of different styles. This was me messing around trying something new. And on that one I was using a technique the old masters used to use of doing the whole thing in black and white almost first, and then putting thin layers of colour over the black and white. So this, even when I've been painting for years, I still experiment. So that was me testing out a very old-fashioned idea on how to do it, but a very, very good idea on how to do art. So, anybody else out there? Let's see. I'll give you a wave. So if you send me waves in the form of other things, like little emojis coming up, it's really nice because it makes me feel like someone's there. I know that there's a few more coming, so if you can bear with me just for a second. For anyone who missed it, yesterday we did the faces like this. And we learned all about how our face from top to bottom here is like the shape of an egg, and our eyes fall roughly halfway, our nose roughly halfway again, and our mouth halfway again. And then we also learnt that ears go roughly from your eye line down to your nose line. So we had a bit of work doing that. And then we had a bit of a game where we started making them look left, right and up and down. So if you miss that lesson, it's still up on FaceTime Live on Art Jeanni. So you can go back and do this one. It's still up. It's still there to use, and do tell your friends about all of this, please. And right, we've got a few more coming up, and I think we give it another 2 minutes maybe, then I'll start. Here's a few more of these pictures from yesterday, just to give you an idea if you missed it, or just as a bit of a reminder if you didn't. So we had the face looking up and down by me moving these central lines into being curves instead of straight lines, as they were on the very first one, like that. So very quickly we went from a very basic, simple-ish style of drawing into something far more elaborate by using the curves. So if I do it with my own face, it means that this way the lines would have been straight, but as I look sideways, this central line is now going like that. And if I look up, this central line there is now going up like that. Okay, so let's hope there's some more people out there. Oh yeah, there's a few more popping up at the moment. And I hope you've got all your pens and papers and bits and pieces there. And then we've got another couple popping in. If you don't mind, I'm just going to give it a second, because there seem to be a few people popping in at this very second. So while I get myself sorted out, if anybody wants art lessons, private ones, I'm doing that, or via Skype and FaceTime as well. I've been working with a young man who's up in London, and just for a second while we're waiting, I'm just going to grab that and show you what he's been doing. I've been working with other people, but I suspect a number of you are at home from school and things, as well as the parents. No, wrong box. So I'll show you that in a moment. But the speed of learning and the speed that people do it is amazing. And it's just as easy with me doing it online through the cameras and things as it is to do it face to face. I'm also next week going to start running some cheaper group lessons through one of the things like Zoom. So if anyone's interested in that, then we'll do some more elaborate things then. Okay, I think we'll start. So yesterday we did faces, and we did the face of the clown looking up, down, sideways. And I also showed you some images of how you could make that turn into, for example, a human face like this, using that same principle. So instead of doing everything straight, which is what a lot of people do, it means that you can start animating it. Because if I stood like this for you to draw me, that's how many people draw figures, yet you rarely see anybody standing around like that. They're usually in some sort of looking up, down, whatever. So by moving the head, you're going to get more interest. So obviously what we're going to work on today is getting the body from being like a stick figure into being more movable and mobile. Now, to do this, I'm going to point at myself a bit, as I'm my only model, and I'm going to show you a few interesting things. So if you take your own head, put your hand on your head and one on your chin, and if you do that and use that as a measure, if you start bringing that down your body now, in my case you'll find it comes in the middle of my chest here, so that's 2 heads high. If I go down again, I'm sort of like just below my jeans line there, 3 heads. And if you keep measuring yourself down in heads, just above my knee is 4 heads, just below my knee is 5 heads, and if I go all the way down to the floor, I'm about 6.5 heads high. Now, if there are any children out there, would you like to put up on the screen how many heads high you are? I'm guessing you're going to be more like 5 heads high, or if you're a bit younger, maybe 4 heads high. Is there anyone else out there? And I see Edward's there. Now, Edward's a tall man, so how many heads high are you, Edward? You're going to tell me that on the messages? So let's have a look. Has anyone measured themselves yet and worked out how many heads high they are? No, I haven't got any smileys or thumbs up yet. You must all be busy measuring. Can I have a quick look and see when anyone's ready? No? Oh, we've got more people coming in. So those people just coming in, we're measuring our own bodies in heads high, and I came out as 6.5 heads high. I want to have a few people send me some thumbs up and smileys and maybe tell me how many heads high they are. No one's told me yet? Ah, come on, someone must have worked out how many heads high they are. Oh dear, nobody. Oh well. Well, we'll do me first, and if it was me, I'm 6.5 heads high. So like yesterday, we'd draw me a boiled egg like this for my head, and then using that as the measure, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in fact, I've made that head too big. 5 heads high would usually be somebody about 10 years old. So to make me fit on the page, I actually have to make my head smaller like that. Now I can probably get 6.5 on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my feet, believe it or not, come in right down there. Okay? If it's a younger child, they're often, if it's somebody about this height, oh, hang on, Matthew Lidcott, he is 7.5 heads high. He's a tall chap. And we've got Catherine there, she's 6 heads high. I've got a few other people. The ladies seem to be averaging 6 heads. So we've got some other men, they're coming out taller. Now that's normal. So men proportionally are taller, but also this ratio, as we call it, how many heads to their body, increases too. If I was drawing somebody smaller, say my grandson, then he at the moment would probably be about this one. He would be about 4.5 or 5 heads high. If it was a younger child, then their head proportionally is bigger to their body, and they might only be like 3 or 4 heads high. So this would be their legs down here and their feet. Body, they would have narrower shoulders at that age, and you immediately get the feeling that that's probably a child because the head's bigger and the body's smaller. If I fill this one in, we'll make this one Edward, then he would have his neck here, and you immediately get the feeling that this is an adult because of the different ratio of the head to the body. And can you see instantly, you can tell the difference of which is the adult and which is the child. So when you're born, a baby's head is about the same size as its body, and possibly its legs, if you pulled them out, would be about another head high. So it keeps, your head doesn't grow that much as you grow up, but your body grows into your head basically, as we can see here. Now today I'm going to make this whole idea quite simple because I know I've got some younger people around, and we're not going to make it too complicated. We're just going to make the clown's body today. Then maybe tomorrow we'll go on and develop it into a really elaborate bodies like this. And then on Sunday, I think we're going on to 3-dimensional if you'd like. So if anyone's got any particular things they'd like me to cover, then do let me know. So on your piece of paper, you've got A4 paper like this. I've got a huge pad like this, just so you can see what's going on. I'm going to get rid of the first sheet. You'll see why in a minute. And I'm going to work on the second sheet, but you just take a sheet of your white paper. This is just printer paper, nothing special. Oh, I've got someone here who's 10 years old and their daughter is 7 heads high. Wow, she must be very tall, I think. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so we've got this. You'll be working on this in pencil, please. I'm going to use black felt pen only so you can see what I'm doing. So can you just work lightly in pencil for the time being? The first thing we're going to do is do your clown's head. So we're going to do it as your boiled egg like this. And we're going to do it maybe about 1/5 of his height. So that's that, but you're doing this in pencil. One clown's head in the shape of a boiled egg. And I do want to see these afterwards, please. So please send them to me. I had some lovely clowns' heads all coloured in yesterday, and they were amazing. So thank you. Now, for the clown, because he's going to look a bit silly, we're not going to worry all about his shoulders and things today. Tomorrow we will. But we're just going to give him a great big round belly. Now, he can be a big clown or a thin clown, that's up to you. But I'm making mine quite a round clown. So if you'd like to do that with your one. Now, when you've done anything, can you send me thumbs up? Because then I can pace myself. I'm not used to teaching to a camera like this. I'm used to teaching to people I can see. So give me an idea when you're nearly there. You've got your tummy and your head in, everybody. Thumbs up. A few little smiles or something, just so I can see what's happening. Fantastic. Now we're going to do his legs. Now, most of you, when you were little, would have done a person almost like this, and they would have just stood, which is all a bit boring. So we're going to make this clown really fun. Now, if you look at my leg now, I've got two sections to it. This part, and then I've got this part. So we're going to turn those into giant sausages. Now, before you do it, I've got a few props here from my teaching days when I used to be in a classroom. And it's amazing what props I find I actually have here, which have sat in my boxes for a long time. But this was my skeleton props. So I'm not quite sure how they'll fit on me, but you can see I've got a whole lot of drawn bits and pieces of bones. So this bit here would be that part of me, and that's what you're doing as a great big circle this time round. Tomorrow we might separate it so we get more movement. These are my legs and arms, and to be honest, if there's a doctor out there, I haven't really got a clue which ones are which, but we'll have a guess that this one's the lower leg, I think, but I could be really wrong. So when you've got bones inside you, you have to remember that if we're bending at a joint like a knee, that each part has to stay stiff. I've seen many people over the years doing bendy legs. And if you think about it, if you bent your leg, you would get a very nasty fracture where you bent it. So we've got to remember that inside these bits of your leg, it's hard bone, and then we're putting like a sausage over that bone. So here we're going to give him the top part of his leg like that, and the other top part of his leg like that. Then we're going to give him his lower part of his leg like this, and these two are slightly overlaying each other. And then we're going to give this side his lower leg like this. Now these sausages need to sit right over each other, and you're working in pencil, and these don't have to be perfect. But you do have to remember that inside here there would be a bone, so they can't be bendy. Each bit is straight and it bends on the joint, like your knee or your elbow or your shoulder. Okay? We're now going to do exactly the same with his arms, but we don't want a boring clown. So we're first going to do this section of my arm, and we're going to do it out of, like, say that, slightly overlaying his body again so it doesn't fall off. And then we might put this arm, for example, up in the air. Now that's only the first section of his arm. We now have to worry about this part. So if you could now do that part of his arm, and maybe we're going to do that part of his arm. And can you see how he's now getting into quite a bizarre position? Now just have a bit of an experiment again. Put your hand by your head, and you'll find that your hand is actually nearly as big as your head. So when you put your hand in, we're going to say his hands are in gloves today to make it easier, or mittens. You need to do the equivalent of a giant baked bean that is nearly the length of his head. And here's his other hand. I'm going to put that one there like another giant baked bean. Now, I've taken my shoes off, but let me see if I've got something I could measure my foot against. Let me have a quick, oh, here, my giant pencil. I think one of my children gave me this. It might have even been Claire that I think's out there at the moment. So I'm measuring my foot with the pencil, and believe it or not, that's the size of my feet. And before you ask, I don't have giant size feet. I've got quite normal size feet for my height, but look at that. When I put it against the picture like this, can you see my foot is actually quite a lot longer than the length of my head? Now you're doing a clown, and clowns love wearing giant shoes. So we want to make his head and a bit more the length of his foot. So look how enormous we're going to make his feet. And this is to make him look like a real clown. Okay? Now, all of you should have got something a bit like that now, but in pencil. What I'd like you to do now is under my arm here. I don't have a great big chunk missing. So we're just going to smooth that together. So there's a nice line from my elbow to my tummy. And here the same. We're just going to smooth that round so that it follows round nicely. And we don't want a great gap between their legs, so just smooth that round as well. And here, look, he's got a huge piece missing. So just smooth that up to his tummy and smooth from his neck down to his shoulders. So he looks a bit better now. Right, this is the fun bit. So here we go. You now are going to go into pen, or you can do it like this and lay another sheet of paper over. Now, I can still just about see him through. What I would suggest you do, I'm just going to turn you around, is point yourself towards a window and take your 2 sheets of paper with you across to the window, and then the window will act like a light box. So I'm going to move mine for a minute over onto my light box, which I've got over here. I feel like saying here's one I prepared earlier, but I think you might all laugh. So if I turn you around for a minute, then you can see a bit more of my house. You're up in my art room at the moment. And if I put this over the light box, can you see that's the equivalent of your window? You can see through to the image which is behind. So the real drawing I just did is underneath, somewhere here. I can't get them to come apart now. So like that, that's the real drawing. I've laid the clean piece of paper on top. You're going to hold it to the window. I'm going to hold it to my light box. And if I move this over a bit more, you should be able to see a bit more clearly. There you go. Please do put up with me because I am just making do with what was around in my house. So there we go. Now, we're going to start with his face because we did that yesterday. And we can actually have drawn the face if you want to on the other picture. So I might just do that to make it so I don't make a real mess of this. I'm going to lightly draw in pencil again his face on this one, the previous one. So I'm going to do the face just straight forward, which was dots down the middle, dots for the eyes, dots for the nose, dots for the mouth. If you didn't do that lesson, look online, it's there from yesterday. Nose, and there's his mouth. Now I've worked out where everything is. I'm going to give him his ears, and I need to give him his funny bit of hair. Right, then I'm going to put my picture back on top. There we go. And now I'm going to draw his clothes onto him because we don't want a clown wandering around in the altogether. So here we go. Now this is when you can start using your imagination. So you're either going to draw on top of your pencil sketch or you're going to lay a new sheet over it. I'm now going to draw his face, but I'm only drawing the lines that are useful to me. So I'm not drawing all my guidelines. I always feel like that's a line out of the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's only guidelines. There you go, my terrible sense of humour. And then here go the 2 X's for his eyes. Here goes his nose, and there goes his mouth. So I can see what I'm doing because I've prepared it underneath. Now I'm going to give him a great big collar, because a collar is a great way of not having to worry about his neck. And then I'm going to do another bit of his collar, like that. And now I'm going to put him in what I would call Andy Pandy pajamas. So I'm going to go up like that, all baggy, not exactly on his skin, because if you were wearing baggy clothes, they'd bag away. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to give him a few folds there, just so you know the fabric's folding, and then I'm going to bring it back. I'm coming up to his wrist where I'm going to give him another frill, like that. And then I'm coming out and away from his body, round his arm, all the way round his body here, and it's all big and baggy in my case, because I'm giving him baggy clothes. I'm going to do the other bit of his arm that came in there. I'm going down the other side now, big baggy clothes again, going right round to his wrist. Then I'm doing the frill round his wrist and some elastic maybe, big and baggy into his arm and all the folds down big and baggy around his legs, big and baggy. Now I'm going to have to move this up so you can see what I'm doing. I'm now down at his leg end, and I'm going to go big and baggy around here, folds into his knee again, whether your fabric would fold. If you look down at your own trousers, you'll see what I'm talking about. A frill down here, and then out and round like that to give him baggy trousers, into the folds where the legs are bent, a frill round the edge again and a bit of elastic maybe, and join it up. Now all I've got left to do is finish his head off, hand off here. So he's got a hand up here, and we're going to put it in a mitten. So if you put your own hand up on your head like that, see if your thumb would be going up or down. I think your thumb will be going up. So I'm going to put his thumb up and then give him a mitten there. And on this one, hold your hand in front of your tummy and you can see the thumb's up. So on this mitten, I'm going to give him his thumb up and his whole hand there. And then I'm going to come down here and give him shoes. Now, because he's a clown, I'm going to give him crazy big shoes and maybe give him a bit of a Cuban heel on it. And I might even give him some shoelaces. And then on this side, the shoe might be so big that it's going to come off the page. And when you're drawing, don't be frightened to let things go off the page if they do. Now, at the moment, you're seeing both images. But if I take away the back one now, you'll see you've got the whole clown drawn. And we did it by drawing his structure first and then putting on the details. I'm just going to give him some buttons now down his front, or pom-poms, just to make him a bit more fun. And that's one clown. Now you could be doing yours like that, but you could do many other things. So I'm now going to do another one. Here's that one for anyone who wants to have a look. And obviously you could colour them in later. You could do them bigger, smaller. Now this time I'm going to be a bit silly, because silly's good. And I'm going to do another one. I'm going to change his clothes and dress him completely differently. I could give him different hair as well. And I'm going to pretend that maybe this one's doing some sort of weird cartwheel. So I might even decide to do this one upside down. And this one, I think I'll draw him the right way up, but then I might stick him upside down afterwards. I'm going to give him braces. So if you want to do one like this, you can just put another piece of paper over your template one and do it again. So we're going to give him a nice face. Here you go. Here goes his ears again. His eyes. You could change these obviously as well. Someone yesterday, and I can't remember who it was, but had done some cute little like dots here as eyebrows, and that looked really cute. So whoever that was a brilliant idea. And they did a couple there. I'm going to give him the same hair and things just for speed, but you could obviously change it. And then this time I'm still going to give him mittens with his thumb up. Always check with your own body which way things would go. And there's the wrist and there's the frill. And I'm going to have this hand with the thumb up and the frill there. But this time we're going to put him in braces and things. So I'm going to give him huge baggy trousers, which are going to be much, much wider than him. And at the sides here, we're actually going to see into the shadow of his trousers. So that's going to be like a shadow, and there would be one on this side, but we won't see so much of it because my hand there is in the way. And then I'm going to draw his trousers coming down, really baggy to his knees, and I'm going to make them a little bit short. So they're really horrible trousers here. They're not shorts, they're just very peculiar. And I'm going to come in here and go bends in his knee, across here, up and round, and back to the top of the trousers there. We could give him a bit of a zip fastener and a bit of a belt on his trousers if we like, maybe a button there, and maybe even some pockets. And then I'm going to give him some very peculiar socks. Let me turn the camera, sorry, I didn't realise what I'd done. I'm going to give you some socks. So here's his legs, and they could be hairy legs or something if you like, whatever amuses you. I think you're allowed to have a bit of fun at the moment. And I'm going to give him some very big shoes again, with a bit of a Cuban heel, some laces, and here a bit of leg, a bit of sock, and then I'm going to give him a giant shoe again here and some laces. And then if we come back up to this end of it, I'm now going to give him braces that are holding up his trousers. So there go the braces, and on this one he's going to have braces coming from here, and it's joined on by a button there, and then I can just maybe put him this time in a t-shirt, and then I could just have him wearing these peculiar gloves with the frill around them. And going up there again, he's wearing a t-shirt again on this side, and then here goes his arm up to his gloves. Now with any luck, the last thing we've got to do is give him a big bow tie, like that, and maybe some buttons down his shirt here. And we've got a completely different clown that you could then colour in and finish. Now if I turn this back round to the way we were before, you'll probably see better. But basically, by drawing one thing first and then adapting it, so we started with that, and it's almost like a template. You could even move the arms on this template for a different person. So if you wanted to do another clown, you could maybe move this arm for the next one down there or something. So you can move things around on this one because this one isn't important. But in the end, you'll end up with as many different clowns with their heads up, down. I've got somebody whose clown is scaring them. That's a bit of a worry. This is meant to be fun. I'm not trying to challenge people into being scared by their clowns. And there's one. Here's another one. And we could always, if we put the other arm down, we could have had this one doing some sort of crazy cartwheel. If I move this back a bit, you'll be able to see better what I'm doing. So we can have one up, one down, and we could cut them out. We could stick them across the fridge, the walls, your bedroom. You could do all sorts of manner of people doing all sorts of weird and wacky positions. You could pose for each other, trying to find silly clown positions that would be amusing. You could give the clowns some juggling balls to have up in the air and cut out some nice bright coloured circles, put them across the top. Now somewhere here, amongst all my old teaching equipment from when I was a classroom teacher, I have a few pictures that I can show you of what some other people have done. So here's one that a child did with that exact same principle. So look at that. That's something you could do, and you could colour it in. This one's got beautiful patches on it. It's got a flower in his hat. He's got wacky hair here. He's got white and all sorts of colours. So you could even paint these in. But I haven't been telling people to get paint out because I'm not sure if everyone's got paint at home. So maybe some of you would like to tell me what you have got at home, and then I can tell you what else we can do. Here's another one. This one's got beautiful patterns all over it, and he's got very stylish hair and a hat. And then let me have a look here. And you've got another one here who's even more different. He's wearing the baggy trousers again. And we've got another one here that somebody did. Just there. So you can have lots of fun with it. You can move them around, and somebody's just said that they found a little bit of it difficult, so I'm just going to rerun it quickly. First of all, you need a boiled egg. Then you need like a jacket potato. This one I'm going to make it like he's doing head over heels. We can turn him upside down afterwards. Then we're going to get a sausage, and his baked bean hand, I'm afraid, is going to come off there. Sausage, baked bean, and then I'm going to make his leg in a really peculiar position here. And there's his big foot, and this one we can do in a different position. And then again, you could dress him again. And just to get the hang of it, it doesn't need to be difficult. Just have a bit of fun, but then lay the other sheet on top, or else draw over your pencil work in your bright colours and felt pens. But let this bit not show in the end. This is just there to help you. Just to show you how easy it is, we'll do another one quickly, which would be, if I do this time the head over here, I'm going to make this one look like he's doing something very weird. I have no idea, and I can't say I've thoroughly thought this through, but he's going to be in the very peculiar position. I think this one's doing kung fu or something along those lines. Whatever it is, it looks very dangerous to me. And there you go, that could be your next clown. So I hope that gives you some ideas, and maybe if you would like to give me some thumbs up and smiles, just so that I know you've been enjoying it, because it's hard for me to watch the screen and to be teaching as well. So is anybody there? Send me a few little things so I can see what's going on. I've got, oh yeah, I've got a thumbs up going up. What else? So we've got some hearts and things. That's fantastic. So both of these lessons will stay up online. So if you've missed it, also if you want to, just watch it again. You might find it easier if you watch through again. And basically it's a really good technique. When I do even things like this, I sketch it all out roughly first, and then I take 2 sheets of paper sometimes to the window, and I adapt and finesse it until I get what I like. And then I start transferring it onto the canvas. A lot of people think that artists draw everything perfectly first time. We don't. We just adapt things more. So you need to... Well, somebody's written something funny there, sorry. Hello to all of you. Harry, I can see there. Caroline, I'm seeing. Pamela, can you all say hello to me? It'd be lovely if you put your names up and I can just say hello. If any of you want more information, or you want a copy sheet, because I've got odd sheets here, I can email you and things, then please say hi. Pamela, lovely to see you. Catherine, glad you came on, that's nice to see you. Who else is there? Put your names up. Oh, Graham Jones, thank you, that's really cool. I'm going to adapt it a bit more tomorrow, and then we're going to go 3D. So tomorrow you might need a pair of scissors and some sellotape, as well as the things you've got today. Please tell your friends and start putting it out there, because the more people we get doing this, I think it's a bit of fun. You can start talking to each other as well. Who else is there? I've got Graham. Is there anybody else out there? No, nobody else up there at the moment. There's some more names coming up. Oh, I've got Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it. And do tell your friends, I will be back tomorrow, and bring along the same sort of equipment. Please copy and share this out and have fun. Please send me your images and place them on the bottom of this on the messages. It would be fantastic. See you soon, and thank you ever so much for coming on to my channel and watching me make a complete fool of myself in my bedroom, well, art room. There you go. Bye. Oh, we've got Jenny. Sorry, people are still coming up. Tanya, that's good. Thank you for the thank yous. It's nice to know there are people out there. Oh, Matthew. Hello, Matthew, again. How's that baby? Is it doing well? So, oh, yep, I think it is. I've got a smiley face. I'm doing it every day for now, Matthew. So I want to see how many people are interested. If people are loving it and enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. My ambition when I was a child was be a Blue Peter lady. As I said, I'm not giving you away the keys to my art course that I do. This is just other things, and it's a bit of fun. We'll do some craft, do some art. So yes, if you're enjoying it, please put something up, maybe on my TripAdvisor, Art at the Beach, Newquay. and say it was good fun, and also tell your friends. And if you want a proper individual lesson, then of course I'd love to do it. So Matthew's baby is teething. Ah, poor Matthew, you're not getting much sleep then, I'm guessing. Edwards, thank you again, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, take care. Please send me some messages afterwards.